Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Air, and in this video I'm going to tell you guys if this banner is worth pulling. Before I start, I'm going to tell you guys that the 4 stars are way more worth than summoning Albedo, and let's get into it. Okay, let me give you guys a brief introduction of this character Albedo. Stats here, base attack is average. Well, as a 5 star I think it's kind of low. Base defense is very high. Normal attack scaling is very poor in my opinion, and plunge damage also very low. If you compare it with the Geo Traveler has a better scaling. Now we're gonna look at the Solar Isotoma. So this one here is considered as a Geo Construct. He will lift himself up on a platform, and right here, when enemies within the Solar Isotoma feel tick damage, the Solar Isotoma will generate transcend blossoms which deal AoE geo damage. I think this is really good. Damage scales off Albedo's defense. Skill damage is kind of low, but then this is good because you get extra AoE damage off of these blossom. And then duration is 30. Skill cooldown is very low. Now we're going to look at the Tectonic Tide. This one is extremely strong, I would say. Very high damage. And then you have this Fatal Blossom. You will create 7, or if a Solar Isotoma created by Albedo himself is on the field, which means if you use his elemental skill first and then you use the elemental burst, you will be able to have the 7th Fatal Blossom. And then this will deal 7 of them, so each deals 72%, well, at level 1. So this one does a lot of damage with the burst. When you do the burst, a lot of damage, and the Fatal Blossom also does a lot of damage. And cooldown is extremely low, energy cost is extremely low. Okay, now we're going to look at the passive talents here. Bonus weapon ascension materials, or 10th chance. So this is the same as Sucrose passive. And this one here is Solar Isotoma deals 25% more damage to opponents whose HP is below 50%. And then Tectonic Tide here increases the elemental mastery of nearby party members by 125 elemental mastery. I think that's amazing. It's for 10 seconds, so he's a very good support. He does his burst. It's not just, aside from dealing impressive damage, now if you switch him out and then switch in whoever, and they will also benefit from his elemental burst. I think Constellation 1 here is kind of like whatever. Regenerate 1.2 energy. I think it's good because now when you have him at Constellation 1, you don't need to build energy recharge from his artifacts. Constellation 2 is where you want him because this gives him optimal damage. The Blossom generated by Solar Isotoma grant Albedo Fatal Reckoning for 30 seconds. Each stack of Fatal Reckoning increases damage by 30% of his defense. The effect stacks up to 4 times. Tectonic Tide consumes all stacks of Fatal Reckoning, increasing the damage dealt by the Tectonic Tide and Fatal Blossom based on the number of stacks consumed. So more stacks you have and higher defense you have, you will be able to deal optimal damage. But you need to have Constellation 2. And the Constellation 3 here, 3 and 4, oh no, sorry, 3 and 5 is basically just raising the level cap. 4 here is Solar Isotoma increases plunge attack damage by 30% for active party member within the AoE. Remember, his elemental skill lifts him up, so he can always do a plunge attack when he drops. You can check out from other YouTube channel, there is a demo of his skills. Okay, last but not least here, Constellation 6, if active party members within the AoE are protected by a shield created by Crystallize, Solar Isotoma increases their damage by 17%. Okay, let's take a look at his pros and cons. So pros, second highest base defense status next to Chi. Impressive elemental burst support with extremely high damage, low energy cost, and low cooldown. If you don't have Sucrose, it's great to have him for his passive weapon ascension crafting bonus. Elemental Burst buffs nearby party members' Elemental Mastery. Again, if you want to switch him out, your ally will also benefit from his Elemental Burst. His cons is that he cannot be a main DPS. So if you're looking for a Geo main DPS, he's not the one. It's better to use Ningguang or even Zhongli. I think he'll do better. And of course, don't forget the Geo Traveler. And looking from his kit, it seems like he needs to have high investment. First, you need Constellation 2. His elemental skill is based off of his defense, and I think his elemental burst is scaled off of his attack. Which means now if you have an artifact, you need to look for both attack and defense. Okay, like what I just mentioned, requires Constellation 2 for optimal damage, and since he's a sword user, he can only do mild staggering. Okay, now let's talk about Fischl, her pros. One of the best range DPS, strong electro support, constant electro damage, and even if you swap her out, the burst stays on the battlefield and keeps doing constant electro damage. She's already very strong at Constellation 0 and becomes a beast at Constellation 1. Therefore, if you already have her and you haven't unlocked Constellation 1, I think this banner is very worth pulling. Elemental Burst gives her flexible movement. Her cons: elemental skill has a long cooldown. Bow users in general cannot stagger. Her biggest weakness is that she's a single target damage dealer. So she's good against boss, but when there's a massive of mobs, she have to deal against them one by one. She's not good as a main DPS. She can be a sub DPS. Her role is flexible. She can be a good support and good sub DPS. Bennett. I'm telling you guys, man, this is the main reason why everyone's going to pull on this banner. It's not even for Albedo, it's for Bennett. First, now, let's take a look at his pros. Elemental skill has a very short cooldown, quick application of pyro damage succession. Elemental Burst does AoE healing. Elemental Burst increases damage in an AoE, increases everyone's damage. Able to reset Elemental Burst easily with Elemental Skill prompt. What that means is that every time he uses his elemental skill, he gets particles to for energy recharge. He's already very strong at Constellation 0. I don't know how far you guys in Spiral Abyss, but I'm on floor 12 and I'm telling you, with him, not chamber 3, in general, the whole floor 12 makes it super easy. His cons: sword user, mild staggering. Elemental skill propels him backwards if held down. You will lose your positioning. Elemental Burst lacks damage in comparison to other Elemental Burst scaling. Okay, last character, Sucrose. Pros: strong animal support, easy to build and low investment. What I mean by that is all you need to do is just look for Elemental Mastery and Animal Damage bonus. All you need to look for is just one set of artifact, which is the Swirl bonus set. She's good enough as Constellation 0. Her passive gives Weapon Ascension crafting bonus, and both her elemental skill and burst are AoE. If you miss Fenty from the launch banner, and if you didn't get Jean, basically you have to either use the main character as an animal, otherwise this is your only chance to get a Wind Element hero. Wind Element hero does the most damage when it comes to elemental reaction. Sucrose cons: very long cooldown elemental skill and burst, and she requires Constellation 4 to be really strong. The reason why is because when she unlocks Constellation 4, when she does charge or normal attack, it will reduce the cooldown of her elemental skill. Alright guys, that is it for the video. I hope this video helps you decide if you should pull or you should save for the next banner. Trust me, if you're a completely free to play player, I highly recommend you pull on this banner. Let me know in the comments below that if you're going to pull on this banner and who you are looking for from this banner. If you like what you're watching, don't forget to give me a like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.